I once apologised to a lamppost. I walked straight into it, and my very first instinct, before I'd even registered the pain, was to say, "Oh, sorry," to a lamppost. That cannot move, that has no feelings whatsoever.
No, to an actual lamppost.
To an actual lamppost. And the embarrassing part is, I felt genuinely better for having said it.
That is brilliant, perfectly British. And honestly, I've done something very similar. I said sorry to a self-checkout machine once because I put my bag down too fast.
Ha! Yes, that's exactly it. And that brings us perfectly into today's topic. Why do British people apologise so much? And actually, what are some of the other quirky habits that make British culture so uniquely British?
And if you're learning English and you've ever been confused by British behaviour, hopefully today's going to make a lot of things make sense, or at least be entertaining. I'm Victoria.
And I'm Edward. Welcome to Everyday English Unlocked. Right, so the sorry thing. Let's actually dig into this, because I think what surprises a lot of people who come to Britain is that the British sorry doesn't always mean what they think it means.
Right, it's not always a real apology, is it?
Not at all. Sometimes sorry means, "Excuse me, can I get past?" Sometimes it means, "I disagree with you, but I'm too polite to say so directly." Sometimes it means, "Could you repeat that, please?" And sometimes it's just a sound, a filler, a verbal reflex.
Like a habit you don't even notice. And the wild thing is, if someone bumps into you, you still apologise, even when it was completely their fault.
Oh, absolutely. Someone steps on your foot in a crowd, and your immediate reaction is, "Sorry." And they look at you and think, "Why are you apologising? You're the one wincing in pain."
Ha! Yes, I've done exactly that. So where does it come from, do you think? Is it just politeness, or is it something deeper?
I think it's a mix of things. Part of it is definitely politeness. There's a very strong culture in Britain of not wanting to make other people feel uncomfortable. So saying sorry is a way of smoothing things over, keeping the peace, avoiding awkwardness.
Avoiding awkwardness is basically a national priority, isn't it?
Ah, it really is. But I also think there's an element of not wanting to appear arrogant. If someone walks into you and doesn't apologise, they look rude. They look like they think they're above everyone else. So the apology is also a signal. I'm not like that. I'm a decent person.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. And it connects to something else I find fascinating: the understatement. Because British people don't just avoid conflict, they also avoid sounding too enthusiastic or too dramatic.
Oh yes, the understatement, a British speciality.
So, for example, if something is absolutely amazing, a British person might say, "It's not bad." If there's been a complete catastrophe, it's described as a bit unfortunate.
Ha, yes. A bit unfortunate could mean the roof has caved in. And listeners, this is really important for understanding British English. If someone tells you something is quite good, that is actually high praise. That's nearly enthusiastic for us.
Right, yeah. Quite good, coming from a British person, is almost like a standing ovation. What about queuing, Edward? Because that always comes up when people talk about British habits.
Ah, the queue. Sacred institution. I'm not even joking. British people genuinely love a queue. We form them naturally. If there are two people waiting for the same thing, a queue will appear as if by magic. And there's a very clear unspoken code of conduct.
And if someone breaks that code, if someone skips the queue,
Oh, the outrage. The silent, simmering, deeply British outrage. Nobody will say anything directly, of course, but there will be sighing, there will be pointed looks, there will be loud comments made to the person standing next to you, just loud enough for the offender to hear.
like, some people just don't seem to understand how queuing works, do they? Said at full volume while staring into the middle distance.
Ha, precisely. Passive-aggressive perfection. And that actually links to another big one, British people not complaining directly, especially in restaurants.
Oh yes, this one I relate to deeply, and I'm not proud of it. If the food is wrong or cold or not what I ordered, I will usually just eat it quietly and say nothing.
Same. The waiter comes over and asks, "Is everything all right?" And you say, "Lovely, thank you," while your pasta is lukewarm and completely wrong.
Why do we do this? Like, genuinely, why?
Because complaining feels rude. There's a deep fear of causing a scene, of being seen as difficult or demanding. You don't want the staff to feel bad. You don't want other diners to look at you. You just want everyone to be comfortable, including the people who got your order wrong.
And then you go home and tell every single person you know about the terrible meal.
Ha, yes. You'll describe the cold pasta to your friends, your family, your colleagues, probably for weeks. But you won't say a word to the actual restaurant. That would be going too far.
The British approach to conflict resolution. Tell everyone except the person involved. Okay, we can't do this episode without talking about the weather. It's basically the law.
It is practically law, yes. And I think people sometimes assume that British people talk about the weather because they've got nothing interesting to say, but I actually think it's more deliberate than that.
Oh, interesting. Go on.
Weather is a completely neutral topic. Nobody gets offended by rain. You can't really have a strong political opinion about a grey Tuesday. So it's a way of connecting with a stranger, a neighbour, a colleague, someone in a lift, without venturing into anything too personal or controversial.
Right, yeah. It's like a safe bridge into conversation. And honestly, with British weather being what it is, there's always genuinely something to say about it.
Exactly. You can have all 4 seasons in a single afternoon. I went for a walk last month. Brilliant sunshine when I left the house. By the time I got to the park, it was raining horizontally.
Horizontally. Did you apologise to the clouds?
I considered it. Right. Last one that I think we really have to mention. The classic British "I'm fine."
Oh, this one is so important for learners to understand. Because I'm fine in British English does not necessarily mean the person is fine.
Not at all. Fine exists on a spectrum. It can mean genuinely okay. It can mean I don't really want to talk about it. It can mean I am quietly upset, but I would rather keep that to myself. And occasionally, it can mean I am absolutely furious, but I'm British, so I'm not going to say that.
Right. It's like a code. And the key is tone of voice, the slight pause before the word, the very subtle look on someone's face. These things carry the real message.
Exactly. So if you ask a British person how they are, and they pause, even for half a second, before saying, "Fine," ask again, ask twice. The second time you might actually get the truth.
That is genuinely useful life advice, right? Shall we do a quick language section? There were some great phrases in there today.
Let's do it.
Okay, so here are 5 words and phrases from today's conversation that are really worth knowing. First, to smooth things over. Edward used this earlier. It means to make an awkward or difficult situation feel more comfortable and calm. So you might say, he bought her flowers to smooth things over after the argument. It's about reducing tension between people.
Good one. Number 2, understatement. This is when you describe something as much less extreme or serious than it actually is. British people do this constantly. So if a British person's entire holiday went wrong and they say, "It wasn't quite what we'd hoped for," that is a textbook understatement.
Perfect example. Third phrase, to skip the queue. This means to go in front of other people who are already waiting without permission. As we discussed, in Britain, this is considered genuinely rude. So if someone says to you, "Did he just skip the queue?" Yes, that is a serious accusation.
Very serious. Number 4, to cause a scene. This means to behave in a way that is loud, emotional, or dramatic in a public place. British people have a strong preference against causing scenes. You'll hear phrases like, "Please don't make a scene," or "I didn't want to cause a scene, so I just left." It's about keeping things quiet and dignified in public.
And finally, passive aggressive. This is a really useful one. It describes behaviour where someone expresses negative feelings, like anger or frustration, but indirectly, rather than saying it openly. So instead of saying, "You jumped the queue and that was very rude," a British person might sigh loudly and say to no one in particular, "Goodness, some people really have no patience." That is passive-aggressive. It's very common and very British.
Ha! Guilty as charged. And if you understood most of what we talked about today, your listening skills are genuinely coming along brilliantly. Well done.
Really, be proud of yourself. Natural, fast English conversation is one of the hardest things to follow, and you made it to the end. That's a big deal.
That's everything for today's episode of Everyday English Unlocked. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. It genuinely means a lot. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please do subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We release new conversations every week, all designed to help you improve your listening and feel more confident with real English.
And if today's topic made you smile, or if you have your own story about British habits, or something that confused you about British culture, leave us a comment. We genuinely love reading them.
Until next time, take care, keep listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.